What's up, beautiful humans? 6:30 a.m. here in Bali on Monday. Just got done trying to teach my 4-year-old how to play some chess, which is hilarious because it's infinitely more complicated than checkers. And as a 33-year-old, I'm only just getting it. And I wanted to shoot this quick video in a real kind of raw fashion, answering a question that I've been getting recently. And you know when people say like, I've been getting questions recently, this is actually one that's been coming up. And so it was around scheduling. You know, one of the things that if you follow me or if you're new to the page is kind of might be news to you is I make really decent money, but I don't work very many hours to get it. So, you know, this year I'm on track to probably 2 million in profit. And I say probably because obviously we're halfway through the year, but that's how it's tracking right now. And on average, I'm working 12 to 15 hours a week. Now, firstly, this video is not about how to reduce your hours to that level, because for some of you, that sounds like absolute hell. You want to work more. Totally get it. This is not about me telling you what to do. This is really just sharing what I do. So the last 18 months, I guess, I've been working 12 to 15 hours a week. Actually, we'll be going on two and a half years. So not 18 months, like, you know, whatever 2.5 years is in months, of working kind of 10 to 15 hours a week. And for context, that was not my life for a very long time. Kind of zooming back, not zooming back is a saying, going back, rewinding the clock. I was a youth pastor from 18 to 28, and you know, there were lots of different churches and lots of different styles of doing things. We were a growing church. Our resources were always under what they needed to be, because we were growing so fast, and so the workload was pretty epic. And so I didn't grow up with a work ethic of any kind, truly. Like, I was really lazy. You know, I remember just spending summers, some summers with friends, just like watching TV series like Lost. Like, there'd be sometimes we didn't even see the sun. Like, people just coming over to my house and we're just watching Lost, and we leave to go to the supermarket and we come back. And all that to say, like, I wasn't the guy that had weekend jobs and summer jobs. Like, I was pretty lazy outside of the things that were really interested me, like music and such. And so coming into my 20s was a bit of a shock, to be honest. And I learned a work ethic, both because I had to work wise with what was required of my job, and then also got married, and then I had a kid, I think when I was like 25 or 26. And so I learned how to work. And when you learn how to work, you learn to do two things. Firstly, you learn to get work done, and then you learn to ignore the feelings that tell you to slow down and such, because you are, especially if you're doing something you're passionate about and committed to, you realize, or you think that those things are relevant. It doesn't matter how you feel. It is all about just getting as much work done as you possibly can. And if you've ever been unfortunate enough to be in this position, in end of 2021, I like truly got burnt out. And you can hear people throw this thing around, and there were many times throughout my life that I'd felt burnt out. But honestly, I was just feeling overworked or tired or lost or demotivated. But end of 2021, truly burnt to a crisp. The way I described it to my wife, Olivia, was like, it was like my body just hit low battery mode. You know, when it's like, you're in those last like 1 to 2% and everything starts freezing and glitching and going slow. It was like that. It was really, really, really hard. And so I came into 2022 going, I have to change something pretty drastic. You know, business was growing really fast that year. We'd hit a $4 million run rate. We didn't hold that for a long time, but basically went from like, you know, 130,000 a month, which I get is a lot of money, but we were stuck there for a while. We got to 347,000 a month, and I was just done. I was smoked. I was really willing and ready to burn the whole thing to the ground. I kind of did that, but going into 2022, I just basically paused marketing and sales. I was like, right, no more clients. Went from a team of 13 to a team of 4. And I just tried to slow down. And basically it was almost like an eat, pray, love journey. If you kind of get the reference of the book and the movie, I was really trying to find myself. I was in LA for 6 months with my family. I was in Mexico for 5 months, I think it was. I think all up that year, I'd done 11 countries. And basically I just wandered around trying to figure my life out, trying to let my body heal, which is kind of still the journey that I'm on. And throughout the process, what happened was really crazy was we paused marketing and sales. I reduced the team. I drastically reduced my hours down from, 50, 60 hours a week down to literally 8 to 12 hours a week, no cap. And the business made the same amount of money. It was the craziest, kind of stupidest season for me where I think all up, even though we had some huge months in 2021, we ended it with $2 million cash collected. In 2022, I reduced my hours, I've let go of a lot of the team, and I simplified things, and I was ready to just survive. And we still did $2 million cash collected, and like my mind was blown. I was going, wait, so I've basically eliminated most of the team, eliminated most of my hours, but have somehow maintained revenue. And that was where this big unlock and aha came to me, which was like, it's obviously not about how many hours you work if you're being unproductive, but it's really about what you do when you are working, what you put those hours towards. And so in this video, I just want to walk through how I think about managing time. Now, I'll tell you the bare bones of my calendar, but that will be maybe more uninspiring than anything because it might feel really far and out of reach from where you're at. But what I'll do better than that is just walk through how I got there and how I think about it. So I've got a pen in front of me. You can't see this, but this is just for my sake. So Monday through Friday, that's basically when I work. I don't strictly take off weekends. I tend to kind of disconnect myself from the way the world runs the calendar. I work when I want to work. I rest when I want to rest. I don't plug into like, I'm going to take time off around Christmas or I'm going to not work Saturdays and Sundays. I actually like thinking about work most days. That doesn't mean I work all day, every day, but basically what I'm trying to say is I fit a lot of my hours into Monday to Friday, but Saturday, Sunday is like, I can work, I can not work, I don't really care. On Tuesday morning, I have a call that is with our community. And then on Thursday afternoon, I have a call with our community. And then I might have 1 to 2 extra calls throughout that week. That is my entire scheduled calendar. I have 3 to 4 calls, which might take up 3 to 4 hours of the week total. And that is the only scheduled time. That's the only thing I actually have to show up to anyone else, for anyone else in any structured way. Everything outside of that is completely unstructured, and I've designed it that way because that's what I really enjoy. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that what I'm going to share with you is really unpopular. It's not going to get you, as far as I understand, at least from my perspective, $100 million business, probably won't even get you an 8-figure business. But this is what I found to be the best formula for me to make 1 to 2 million a year in profit and do it in a way that doesn't suck, that's really fun, that's really low stress. So number one, I am optimizing for what we all call flow or sweet spot or momentum. It's that feeling you get where you feel like you're doing the right thing at the right time, where you're no longer just thinking about the goals or the outcomes. You are falling in love with that process. Maybe for you, it's when you read a book or play a video game or play music. It's almost when time stands still, or kind of on the flip side, it's like time just disappears, right? And that's what I'm optimizing for. I do not have 100 things I wake up and I have to do. I have not structured my business in that way. I am optimizing for the majority of my time to be doing exactly what I want to do and exactly the way I want to do it. So this even comes down to things like when I take one-to-one calls, I take them audio only so that I'm not sitting at my desk, because sitting at my desk, staring at a screen, I want to do that as little as possible because that feels to me like the opposite of flow, right? The idea that I can be talking to someone, I'm in Bali, they're in Mexico, they're in Dubai, they're in London, and I'm out walking, sun on my skin, and we're talking about business, that's flow to me. Sitting in a freaking fluorescent light filled office for 10 hours a day, that sounds like hell. And so that's an example of like one of the changes I made a year ago where I was like, I'm only gonna do one-to-one calls, audio only. But the reason I'm doing that is not for that one reason, it's for the optimization of flow. I want to have that sense that I'm doing things that I love, that it's fun, that it's energizing, and I'm trying to minimize the amount of stress that I possibly can. So that's how I think about structuring my time is my week is allocated in such a way that I'm optimizing for that one feeling. So then number two, the way that you get in flow more often and the way that you get more meaningful stuff done frequently, consistently, without having to need motivation or discipline or shouting affirmations at yourself in the mirror, is I manage my energy and not my time. So what that means is I am no longer coming into a day and simply trying to squeeze as much out of that day as possible. And one of the secrets that I found around making this work really well is batching tasks together. So When it comes to managing energy, you will know that the idea that you go 15 minutes here and do 15 minutes here and then do 15 minutes here, that's not very productive. The idea of going from a sales call to a coaching call to Slack messages to following up client payments to creating content, like that's not really how it works. And so I have found managing my energy through batching some things of similar nature together to be the secret. So practically speaking, about 18 months ago, I started batching all of my calls together. So I fit all of my calls in 2 days a week, and obviously with the call volume that I'm doing, it's very low. So it's just literally a couple of hours on Tuesday morning and a couple of hours on Thursday afternoon. That's what's worked best for me to manage my time. When it comes to creating content, I'll typically record or write a number of things at the same time, or I will just simply make sure that it is earlier in the day. Again, what that's about is managing my energy. If I come to 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, my ability to create content is very, very, very low. And so you need to be managing your tasks, your productivity, what you're optimizing for around, sorry, I've got itchy nose here, around your energy. Where are the peaks? Where are the troughs? So putting your most creative work around times in the day and in the week, because that's another thing is I don't just batch within a day, I have themed days that I'll get to in a moment, is really a big unlock. Optimizing for having tasks of a similar nature around times where you need that type of energy is really powerful. So an example is, I don't need to feel creative energy to reply to Slack messages. I can do that whenever. So what that means is I shouldn't be doing it first thing in the morning when I'm most energized and most creative. Like for some of you, the idea of sitting down here at 6:30 a.m. and shooting a video might sound crazy, but I've been up for an hour and a half, just naturally woke at 5, and so I'm kind of up and ready to go. This is a great time for me to be shooting a video. For you, it might not be. So it's not about replicating what I'm doing. It's about managing your energy in such a way that you're putting the tasks and activities around the peaks of your energy where you need them to be peaking, and you put the admin and things like that that don't require much brain power, don't require much inspiration, in parts of your day or your week that have the naturally lower peaks or troughs of energy. When you start managing your time around energy, things start to get much easier. Rather than jumping from task to task, tab to tab, call to call, you actually start theming out your week. It's very powerful. So if you're taking sales calls, you can get to a point where rather than just being like, I will take a call whenever a prospect is willing to jump on, that's one way to do it. The other way I think that most people would benefit a lot from is going like, these are my call times throughout the week, pick one. And now that might freak you out, but that is what having standards is all about, is you going, this business is here to serve me, I'm not here to serve it. And so this is what my ideal week is going to look like. And so therefore, I'm only going to take sales calls on Tuesday mornings, Wednesday afternoons, and Thursday mornings, or what have you. And so looking at your week through this lens of energy is a very powerful filter. So that's how I both manage my days and how I structure my weeks. So if we look at the week overall, Monday, I have nothing planned. Like literally, I have no idea what I'm going to do today outside of this video. Afterwards, I'm going to write down some of the projects I'm working on, and then I'll kind of work my way through something today. But as of right now, Monday is like blank. I have no idea what I'm doing. Friday, sometimes I have a call first thing in the morning when I have like a new training in the community or a guest, but Friday is also blank. Tuesdays when I have calls, Thursdays when I have calls, that's when I also knock out a lot of admin. That's when I might create SOPs for my VA, things like that. And then Wednesdays, oftentimes, especially historically, is when I've gone to a studio and done podcast interviews or shot curriculum or things like that. This is what's worked for me. The point is not do this. The point is find what works for you, managing your energy to optimize for that feeling of flow, momentum, being in that sweet spot. The third thing is I am ruthlessly focused. So one of the things that happened in our group chat yesterday with my high-level clients was we were talking about how I'm able to work so little. Because when you work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week and you're struggling to make 10, 20, 30K a month, which I get, struggling, that's amazing for a lot of people, but you're overworked. And then you have this guy in your life that is making more than that and working far less. It can blow your brain to smithereens sometimes. It can, and at worst case, can make you incredibly frustrated and envious and resentful and whatever else. And the way I'm not able to be in this spot is obviously years of building skill and so on and so forth. I don't think most people can come out the gates start a business and work 10 hours a week. I don't think that's possible. However, on the flip side, I don't think you need to be working 60, 70 hours a week. The secret is in what you say no to. So I say no to practically everything, and that is both from an opportunity standpoint. Every week I get invitations to travel to different countries, to be on podcasts, and while there are seasons where I'll say yes to certain things, right now I'm in a season of no. I say no to absolutely all of those things, which then frees up so much time for me to focus in on the things that truly matter. There is this quote by a guy called Naval Ravikant that says, spend your time, I'm just got it written down in front of me here in like hieroglyphics, I'm just trying to read it. It says, spend your time earning, learning, and relaxing, ignore or outsource almost everything else. So that's really my philosophy when it comes to this, is like, I'm either making money, I'm either learning, or I'm either looking after myself. And that looking after myself especially is really, really important in this season, as I've neglected my health for a lot of years. And one slow 6-month period or one slow 1-year period doesn't bring everything into balance, unfortunately. So that's a huge priority for me. But how I'm able to achieve that is, again, mega focus, right? So spend your time earning, learning, or relaxing, ignore, outsource everything else. So I ignore most things. I also outsource a bunch of stuff. So I have a virtual assistant. That virtual assistant makes the trains run on time in our business. She is the person who follows up with paid payment failures, or onboarding new clients, or sending recordings. Like, we do a community call, and then she takes that recording and then sends it to, puts it in the school community, or we do a one-to-one with someone, and she sends that recording to people. Like, there's dozens of things that she does every single day that I'm not even aware of, because I set those processes up so long ago. But she works about 40 hours a week, and so she saves me so much time. So the virtual assistant is like a day one hire. I remember a great coach years ago by the name of Tony Fraser-Jones, just such a good dude from New Zealand, said, you either have an assistant or you are the assistant. And so having a virtual assistant is like a day one hire I think everyone should have in the online space. So that is one of the ways that frees up a lot of time and energy for me. Second thing is, I have someone on my team that helps with running events. So we do client events. We're doing like 3 a year in a structured way, but we're kind of ramping up to 6 to 8. So she handles that. She handles some personal things when I'm in new countries and ordering things and so on and so forth. And then here in Bali, I have a house manager. So literally last night I was looking at shower filters, and I'm sending him a screenshot and saying, order these, and getting new furniture and things like that. And so I am trying to ignore or outsource everything that falls outside of my scope of flow or skill. And this might not have been the practical video you were hoping for, in terms of do this and then do this and then do this. But I just want to share what I do. And my calendar is so amazing, and it's taken me a while to find what works for me. Chances are you can't wake up tomorrow and make a couple of million in profit and only take 3 to 4 hours of calls and kind of float about the rest of the time. But the point of this video is not to make you feel jealous or try and move you to that ASAP. It's to just challenge you to think about a couple of things. Number one, if you position yourself to actually focus on flow, so many things fall into place. You start avoiding things with friction and stress attached, and you start structuring your time and energy in a way, both in what you do and in how you do it, to focus on that feeling of flow, that feeling of momentum, that feeling of time standing still or speeding up, whichever way you look at it. So that you enjoy the business more, because you're reminding yourself that the business is here to serve you. You are not here to serve it. The second thing that was really helpful for me, that might be helpful for you, is stop thinking about time as all time being equal, that this 15 minutes is equal to this 15 minutes, that 1 hour at 8 a.m. on a Monday is the same as 1 hour at 4 p.m. on a Friday. We have peaks and troughs when it comes to energy. And I'm not here to say that you should follow the structure. What I am here to say is you will naturally have times where you feel more creative, where you feel like you have higher energy, where you feel like you have more to give. So you may as well capitalize on that flow of energy and put your most important tasks at the peaks, your least important tasks at the troughs. And you do that through really just batching your days and batching your weeks, like theming days or theming weeks. And you might be able to say, Dan, I can't just put all my calls in 1 day a week. That's great. Can you put them in a morning or in an afternoon? Can you split your days into halves or into thirds, where you go, hey, this third is about this and this third is about this? Again, applying that same principle of managing energy and not time. And then number 3, where in your business and life can you apply more focus? When I work with most entrepreneurs, I'm not looking at them going, yeah, wow, you actually have 40 hours a week to do. I'm looking at most of what they're doing and going, most of that's irrelevant. Most of that's not moving the needle. And I say that with so much love in my heart because I was that person for so long where I was like sitting at my desk and I felt like I had so many things to do and there was so many messages to reply to. And then I just eliminated most of them. And I said, I'm either going to ignore them or outsource them. And like Naval says, I'm just going to focus on earning, learning, relaxing, and basically cut out all the rest. So I'm hoping this video has been helpful. This is kind of an update of where I'm at this year. I'm sure every year it'll change. I'm also not opposed to, in the future, working more or doing more calls or anything like that. This video is not about me saying, I've cracked it. This is about me going, right now, I love how I do what I do in business. This is what's working for me right now. I imagine I'm gonna take these principles in another season and the flow and the structure might look different, but this is what's working for me. I hope this video might help spark some ideas to find what works for you. So I'm sending you so much love and we'll talk soon.